Welcome to the Ringer WNBA show. I am joined by Lucas Kaplan. I have bullied him into coming back onto the show after the opening weekend of WNBA action. We finally got some actual games to talk about, so I'm very excited about that. Lucas, how you doing?
Oh, I'm so happy there are actual games back. I wouldn't say you bullied me, but I'll take any appearance I can get, dude.
Well, I appreciate you making the time. So a lot of teams have only played one or two games, and regardless of that, the internet is ablaze, and that's great. You know, I think we're all a little bit pent up, and now everybody's overreacting a little bit as well. But at the same time, I think some things warrant it, some things don't. I thought in order to weave through all of that, we would play a game of red flag, yellow flag, green flag. You know, we've only, a lot of these teams, we've only gotten to see them on one or two dates. You have to analyze a lot of sometimes difficult to parse information.
Well, I think sometimes actually the smart take, the sort of galaxy-brained take is to say, well, you know, it's way too early, this and that. Like, you don't want to rush to any judgments. But I do think there's a lot to be learned from small sample sizes. It's just a matter of what you want to extrapolate. Like, will Janelle Salon shoot 80% from three the whole year? Maybe not, but maybe. Can we have things to take away about the Valkyries? I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that so definitively about her. She's ridiculous. But I do think there's a lot to learn in small sample sizes.
I agree. Was there a small sample size that stuck out to you?
The Sparks, if you just want to get into it, I would say the Sparks, kind of a red flag as someone who really liked them preseason, at least for their chances of being good this year. Like, there's a lot of question about the long-term decision, trading Rakia. Cam Brink only played 8 minutes. I'm sure we'll get to that. But their whole game, their first game against the Aces, I would say maybe orange. That's
feels pretty red
and yellow.
It feels pretty red. I think that's fair. I think, you know, sometimes you go on one date and you just don't need to waste your time. You just keep on swiping.
Ooh, I wouldn't go that far. I'm still.
Look, we can wait and see. We can wait and see. So
the one stat that was, I guess, worrying from that game, like, there were a few, and we're going to talk about the depth, which already seems like a pressing issue. They were never the highest assist rate team last year. Kelsey Plum gets in her bag. I get it. 38% of their makes were assisted against the Aces, and that number is obviously going to jump up. I know, only 38%. But it felt like their offense was uninspiring to me as someone who just loved it last year. And part of that is obviously them missing shots, but it's like, okay, we're coming down, high pick and roll. All right, we get a switch, ISO. Okay, double drags, not a lot of ball movement. Where is this? I was so impressed by Lynn Roberts' 5-out, side-to-side movement last year. It felt like they rarely got to the third side and got a back cut and got into their second action. So, in terms of one stat, small sample size stat that worried me, I'd say that, but their whole situation scared me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they remind me a little bit of the Aces 2 years ago, where you have four really awesome players and then you just don't know where you're going to get anything after that. You got Kelsey Plum is doing Kelsey Plum things, right?
Yeah.
Neko Ogumike had a really good stretch. I think it was the second or third quarter.
Second quarter.
That's when the Sparks looked their best, and it was really, they were creating offense out of their defense. Ariel Atkins was absolutely insane in that stretch, getting into help lanes, just stunting a ton, just a perimeter ball pressure, forcing turnovers. She was 0 for 6 from 3, which I anticipate that is something that will obviously change. But other than that, they had nothing going for them defensively. And this is not a team that I historically, at least last year, associated with needing their defense to get their offense going.
That's a really good point. And you know what is worrisome even about their good defensive stretches is that is such a taxing way to play in terms of their best possessions. Their best possessions on defense would either be a trap on a ball screen, 30 feet out, and then they're either rotating behind it or forcing, a turnover, or occasionally they would just allow the switch, allow a post up, like Nalissa Smith to attack Kelsey Plum or even Asia. But now they're sending early help and it's kind of a double on the block. And now you're rotating out of it. And I have no problem with that. But that's a tough way to play if you don't have a lot of depth. And you look up at the box score at the end of the game and KP is 35 minutes. NECA has 33. And you lost by, 27 points?
Yeah.
Like that's a lot to ask of a veteran group without a ton of obvious reinforcements.
Well, there's a reason that they need to play that way as well. They do have a lot of defenders that they need to protect. They also, with Cam Brink coming off the bench, they just don't have any rim protection in their front line. 3 players that played: Sanaya Fagan, Cam Brink, Chance Gray had 0 points. Erica Wheeler had 2 points, 1 for 11. Again, something that will change. I don't expect that to, continue to carry on. But you do have some players. You got some players that are just like on the older end of things. But you also have a player in Cameron Brink who I think has just been put into a really difficult position this season. There's a ton of pressure on her. She only plays 8 minutes. She has 3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls in that stretch. We know she fouls, but the thing that was a little troubling to me was that usually with Cam Brink, like she's passionate, she's fiery, she's getting up there, she's trying to protect the rim. These weren't fouls by commission. They were fouls of omission. These were like, I'm a little bit late here. Granted, like first game of the season, that definitely, I imagine, has some level of impact. But then after the game, Lynn Roberts was asked about why Cameron didn't play. And she took a long breath. Kelsey Plum, kind of squeezed her knee. And then she offers this no, I'm serious. She squeezed Lynn's knee up for to comfort her. And then Lynn offers this very blunt assessment, which is that we need Cam to produce and bring that defensive energy. She reiterates that they have confidence in her. But that word production for a player who, while she's heading into her 3rd season, she's functionally played 35 games, less games than other rookies, that in their full seasons. Yeah. Right. And I think we're kind of in this spot with her where, injuries have a way of distorting time. Like her development froze, but the expectations didn't. So now she's gone from being hyped as like the next Anthony Davis to someone that, you already have people
is playing 8 minutes.
Eight minutes, yeah. So people are already labeling her as a bust. And I think the difficult thing is this Sparks team has traded themselves into a position where they need their young players, whether it's Cam, whether it's Tanaya Latson or Chance Gray, to be able to step up in order to provide any level of depth at all, while also having the pressure on them to win and produce results immediately. And that's a very difficult situation to develop in.
Well, dude, I get Lynn's frustration. I mean, I'm watching the game and I'm like, get your hands out of there. Yeah. Like, I'm getting mad. Get your hands out of there. And it's, she's defending a drive. She's not even necessarily out of position, but the hand is reaching across Asia's chest for no reason. Foul. And then, Vegas is in the bonus. There's 30 seconds left. And Cam commits just a terrible over the back foul, with no chance of getting the offensive rebound, sends them to the line the other way. These things, drive you crazy as a coach. And they're things, to back to your point, young players do. And Cam is in her 3rd season, but obviously the experience is less than that. And yet, when you're a team trying to win and you have all these veteran players, it does feel like those mistakes are avoidable, even from, someone in Brink's position. And it's the lineup construction, what she has to bring on defense to make up for what will inevitably be a clunkier fit on offense, right? Because if you're going to close, let's say she's playing a great game with KP, Ariel Atkins, NECA, Hamby, and Brink. Hamby and NECA have perimeter skills. They can shoot. I get it. But you're sacrificing a little bit there no matter what compared to having Ray Burrell out there and then sliding bigs up a spot. So it really just compounds it. Aside from the obvious, you can't foul when they're in the bonus 40 feet away, 80 feet away from the basket. We need the defense to be as, perfect as possible to make up for what will inevitably hurt our offense a little bit. And then, it's also a Sparks thing. Their offense wasn't even that good. So it was just, it's no one thing's fault, but it doesn't feel great all around.
The Aces took 30 layups. Do you want to know how many they made?
And that's not even including ones that got fouled on, right?
No.
Okay. 24.
26.
Damn. Well, you kind of led me.
Oh, that's good.
Led me there. Thank you.
Yeah,
26.
no, that's really good. That's really good. I would reframe it a little bit. I think that Cam's mistakes are not necessarily avoidable. Yes, they've always been, when she fouls a lot, like this is going back to Stanford, it's obviously frustrating. I think the problem is that they hurt more in a context like this than they would in a context like, let's say, a Washington team that, went to overtime against a Liberty. It hurts less on a Connecticut Sun or Seattle that also played like a fun game where players made a ton of different mistakes. But I think this is where I'm a little fearful with the Sparks. And again, another team, I was pretty high on them, and I don't want to like completely. This is probably my most panicky one. Right?
They're gonna win. They're gonna win by 40 next game. They're gonna win by 50.
Yeah. And look, they were disappointed with it. Like they know.
Yeah.
But I think the issue for me is that aside from developing in a pressure cooker, I think that the biggest risk when you rush your timeline to a title is that it also forces rushed evaluations as well. And the jury is still out on whether that will be the case with Rukia Jackson. And my worry becomes whether that eventually becomes the case with Cameron Brink as well.
Well,
because you already have people that are like making up fake trades for her in the league.
Yeah, and I get it. But the thing is, to your point, the Sparks can't stress test her abilities. They can't put her in different situations and decide, well, can she be this delay hub at the top of the key and like run handoffs, or was she more of like a corner 3-point shooter? What do we have there? Is she sitting dunker spot? Like, you can't really develop a big sample of her in these different positions, especially when the offense, is a little bit more vague. We don't know exactly what her ideal role is going to be. Well, too bad. You got to find one, and you got to stick to it right now if the timeline is accelerated. And that's why I get the fake trades. Like, I hate to sound so panicky. I'm glad that we're going to get less panicky over the course of this pod, but like, I get putting her in the trade machine if you're on another team. That's a monitorable situation. It
is absolutely a monitorable situation. And you make a great point there, because I think one of the things that makes Cam so exciting is she's very elastic as far as the possibilities go with her. She could become a great 3-point shooter. She could potentially be the type of player who has a ton of gravity down low as well. But you don't have the ability to actually figure out what that looks like right now. It's almost like Cam would be the perfect player to send to, if they had the depth for it, to send to like if the WNBA had a G League, and let her really rep it out and sort it out there, because there is a ton of potential there. I'm certainly nowhere close to being in a place where I want to give up on what she can be. However, I mean, almost kind of like Rukia, who was, a great debut. Maybe for her, there's a better context as well.
For sure.
At this point, it sucks for her too.
Well, we'll see. It's still so early, and they're going to need her, which is
that's a problem. That's the other thing Lynn said. It's a positive, but it's also a negative.
Yes, it's a positive, but the flip side of it, if it doesn't work out, is a lot more daunting than if they were, going to win 18 games this year, 15 games.
Yeah.
I love that. The reaction to sending a number 2 overall pick to the G League 3 years in, the world would burn. It's funny you want to see that.
Well, the world would burn, but at the same time, like sometimes you make a decision like that, knowing that it's going to be a big headline, but it might pay off for you later. I think the way that the G Leagues, particularly in the NBA, has been utilized as of late, like you see all kinds of talented players go down there. It's not.
The other thing is that I wish they just don't have a lot of varied depth. They tried. I wanted to bring this up. They tried a little bit of Wheeler, KP, Ariel Atkins lineup, right? Which is already small. And then you think about other potential depth pieces. They got Tanaya Latz in there, but with this guard room and a lot of small guards, how many of them, and overlapping skill sets, how many of them are you going to play at the same time? And to that point, right, the first timeout after that lineup was put in, the Aces run a set play and they get an empty pick and roll between Jackie and Asia, knowing that the Sparks are probably going to trap it. And they do, because that's been their only hope in pick and roll. And Jackie gets rid of it quick to Asia on the slip. And who's the low man meeting her at the rim? It's Kelsey Plum, who has to wrap her up. And it's just oh man, now you got, if it wasn't KP, it could have been Wheeler in that position. Or, it could have been Ariel Atkins, who great defender, but I don't know if she's your weak side, your low man. So they have a lot of positional overlap, which compounds maybe a lack of depth.
They, Jackie Young had a fantastic passing game. The other thing that the Aces did, the first play of the game was a post-up designed to target Kelsey Plum, who has actually turned herself into a pretty good defender at everything else. But that's where the size limitations really get her. And obviously the Aces know that better than everybody else. So Becky Hammond, after they lose, this is part of the reason you can't overreact. The Aces lost in a blowout against the Mercury, and then they came out and blew out the Aces in the first play. It was we're just gonna guarantee us a bucket out of the first play.
Hey, the Aces have earned an infinite amount more of grace and what it doesn't them losing by 30 on opening night. Hey, do we want to talk about Chennedy Carter?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, the Aces losing by 30 on opening night is just something that they do when they win a ring, right? They lose when Asia Wilson gets her MVP. I think a lot of it is just they have gone through a lot of high voltage, high electricity moments in the last few years, and they generally come out a little bit flat after them. And I don't know that there's anything that you can do about that. I think maybe that's a tax you pay for having so many awards nights.
Yeah, it's a good trade-off to have.
Yeah, I think anybody else would take it. But yes, I would love to talk about Chennedy Carter. This might be my overreaction the other way. I am very, very high on the marriage between Chennedy Carter and Becky Hammond thus far.
I think I think they might be engaged. I don't know if they're
not married yet.
A marriage.
Yeah. Well, this is true. This is we stick with the dating metaphor. They're technically only on their second date.
I'm thinking some pale green flags. Maybe we're not fully there yet. But I mean, listen, dude.
You're not going to tell your parents about her yet. But
no. But maybe you can tell your parents that you have plans tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got plans tonight. And
give them a little. When my parents are being good, I'll
give them a little nugget here and there.
Yeah.
What a good daughter. That's very
Thank
nice.
You.
I was watching that game against the Sparks. First Chennedy Carter possession, baseline out of bounds play, and she inbounds it to Asia at 18 feet, in the corner, kind of a short corner. Comes off a handoff, and now she has all this space, and she's only 18 feet away from the basket. And I know she's not a great 3-point shooter, but she's already inside the arc. You can't really press up on her. It's like a drive to the rim and a little floater. It's fuck, dude. This is going to be tough.
Well, she just doesn't really need that much space. I think she by virtue of her explosiveness is a spacing threat when she has the ball in her hands or is even one pass away, because if you're not there, she'll just use that head of steam to blow past you.
Yeah, and she's had a couple plays where it's, a stampede. She catches it and she's already on the move. And I don't mind her, catching it inside the 3-point arc if she's going to use the catch and go. And it's just shit. I don't know how else to say it when you're dealing with the Aces and you're dealing with all of these threats, and then you have
Chennedy Carter coming off the bench.
Chennedy Carter. I mean, what else do you need to say?
Plus 20 points.
Yeah. She's played 19 minutes. She's played 38 total minutes and scored, I think, 30 total points, 31 total points, something like that. Pretty good.
So, almost a point a minute. She also, she just doesn't need a screen. And that allows her to do a lot of different things. It allows her to really thrive in the small guard lineups the small ball guard heavy lineups that they put out there. I was at the Sparks game, and I asked Becky Hammon about Chennedy Carter after. And one of the things that she mentioned that I thought was interesting was that she thinks that she can do a lot of different things with her defensively eventually as well, that she just thinks that there's so much potential there. And it really just got me thinking about Jackie Young, another really athletic guard who has turned herself into someone who can at times guard 1 from 4, one of the best shot blocking guards, maybe the best shot blocking guard, as Tamika Catchings exists, that we have ever seen. And if I'm Chennedy, I'm kind of like, I'm looking around me and I'm like, okay, on the one hand, look, I've been kind of banished from the WNBA for the last year. However, I get back on the court and I am playing on the team that won the title, and I fit alongside multiple time All-Stars. Dare I say, like, I have more talent than some of those multiple time All-Stars.
It's a choice to fit. You know, it's an active choice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I wonder how long. Like, she was asked about kind of what it takes to have that patience, and she said, she said it's hard, but she's doing the right things. And like, I do think that this might be like the right alchemy. It's like the right culture, the right coach, the right context. Like, the coach who knows how to get the most out of her and has, like, we've seen it. Like, there's proof of that on the team. Like, she can look to NaLyssa Smith. She can look to, like, what she can be in a Jackie Young. Like, there is a blueprint here.
I will say NaLyssa had a great game against the Sparks. Some fouls. Awesome. She was great. And it feels like they have a lot more space, like, in this season. I mean, just 2 games, at least in that game. Like, again, just a lot of space for drivers. And you could see NaLyssa really, second year with this team, get a little bit more comfortable. And, I've been critical. We've all been critical of what happens if you run your offense, through NaLyssa to any real extent. But all of a sudden, she has a little bit of space in a one-on-one with 12 feet out. She's at the rim. Like, she has space to one move, a spin move, offensive rebound. She was just in a similar-ish vein to Chennedy Carter. You're dealing with these main threats. Yeah. And all of a sudden now you have ancillary players that are hurting your paint, that are getting to the rim. And it's just scary when they're clicking. And yet, I know they lost by 30 on opening night, but man, that Sparks game was scary.
It was scary. I mean, like, what does Becky Hammon do coming out of the first half too, right? Neko Gumi has a great second quarter. So Becky Hammon decides, and this is having, like, putting your kind of, like, playbook where your mouth is. Like, you can say you have confidence in your players. You can also say, hey, NaLyssa Smith, you're going to go toe-to-toe with Neko Ogwumike right now. The first few plays that we're going to run are going to be you posting her up or you on the roll against them. We're going to isolate her, you guys on 2-man action, and you're basically just going to out-physical her. And she did.
Putting your playbook where your mouth is. I like that, I think. Putting your playbook where your mouth is.
There's probably, we can probably replace the mouth with something else. Putting the playbook where your podium.
No. You had it the first time. We shouldn't. We don't need to workshop it too much. I just liked it. I just liked it. It was good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Impressive, scary. I don't care that they really lost by 30 on opening night. And then, the Mercury turn around and lose their next game. So these early season results, man, it gets wonky and ripe for overreactions. Yeah. So I think we're at a red flag so far and a green flag.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a yellow flag.
A yellow flag.
A couple of yellow flags. So Indiana. Okay,
yeah.
Indiana, every time they lose a game with Caitlin Clark on the court, they break the internet, right? Like, that's just, I mean, I think the fans expect to win. I think for everybody else, there's a sense of, like, Schadenfreude to it as well. I want to pump the brakes a little bit. I understand there's a lot of things that you can critique about the Indiana front office. I had concerns about their front court depth going into the season. They just seem to not scout internationally at all. And when you, like, are top heavy, it really helps you to do that, as we'll discuss with, like, the Liberty later, right? However, at the same time, you had Caitlin Clark coming, like, playing her first professional game in, like, 200 days or something like that. You have Lexi Hall on a minutes restriction. You have Aaliyah Boston coming off of an injury. You don't even have Monique Billings. You don't even have Ty Harris. Functionally, like, the only healthy player in your starting lineup, like the only player that you see, like even Kelsey Mitchell ended the season like with like a horrific medical issue. So that was just like a classic, like, it's game one. They didn't play any defense in the first half. You can definitely critique Caitlin's shot selection, and I certainly will. If she makes that three, if Kelsey Mitchell makes that three, we go to overtime and like nobody's talking about any of this. So for me, let's get into the yellow flags, but I'm definitely even let's say even it's a yellow light. It's a yellow light. We're getting close. Like we're just gonna pump the brakes. I see a yellow light.
Yeah, and they shot 29% from three. Dallas shoots 52% from three. They still score 104 points or whatever it was. Tremendously fun game. Kind of like a wings coming out party. Yeah. So I get it, and yet there are reasons for it to be yellow. The main one for me, and perhaps developing into a trend, something I'm really going to be looking for this year. So Caitlin shot 0 of 10 on off the dribble jumpers.
Yo, this is exactly Dallas. Where I was going to go. This is a crazy mind meld. Okay, you go ahead.
Nice. What do you think? She's taken 400 off the dribble jumpers in her career per synergy. What do you think she's true shooting on them?
Wait, is that including Iowa?
No. Just in the pros.
In the pros. Okay, I'm not good at translating to true shooting, but I'll give you my 3-point percentage on it. I'm gonna guess 24%.
No, it's better than that. It's better than 30. That. She's true shooting 43.5%, which
if her 3-point percent though.
Well, that would be just about, if there are some twos mixed in there, but that would be 29%.
Okay.
About if they were all threes.
Okay, yeah. All right.
And then so you mix in some long twos, obviously a point less valuable, but about that translates to about 29% from three in her career on off the dribble jumpers, or about 30% from three. And Sabrina Ionescu has had this problem. We saw it last year, where incredible shooter talent-wise. Caitlin is obviously beyond reproach as just a pure shooting talent. But when the looks are of a certain quality and she doesn't really shoot a lot going right, as we know off the dribble, all of a sudden defenses say, we can switch this, actually. And if you want to take a tween step back 28-footer against Lana Smith, like, I think we're going to live with it. And actually, if you set that ball screen 40 feet up the floor, like, I think we're just going to be in drop. And if you make a really tough running three, we'll shake your hand. And so we'll talk, turnovers are what everyone's going to be talking about, but that to me is maybe a bigger story and something to look for this year, because she was a pretty good off the dribble shooter her rookie year, dealt with injuries last year, not great. And then, 0 for 10, it's one game starting this year. She's not the explosive isolation player to just burn switches and live at the cup all the time, especially if you know that you can give a late contest on a jumper. You don't have to be all up in her space. So her game, she just can't afford to be an average off the dribble shooter. And I know the looks are crazy, but at some point, like, the efficiency has to go up,
Yeah, to me, it goes back to the conversation around her on the ball versus off the ball, right? Like, there is this perception that, Caitlin does score in bunches a lot, right? Like, that's part of what makes her appointment viewing is, like, if you miss a shift, like, you might miss the entire flurry, right? And that's what happens coming into the second half, right? But what's the difference with those two shots? She made 2 threes, right?
Off the catch, both of them. One of them was set up by Stephanie White. The other one was off of an offensive rebound. All the other misses were off the dribble. And she's typically like a good shooter on the pick and roll going to the left. However, she's over dribbling in these contexts more so than she was in the past. So it kind of looked like ISO threes. And I went back and looked at, like, going back to Iowa and in Indiana as well. Okay.
And Caitlin's like, oh my God, I had this somewhere.
Oh, brutal.
Not me calculating it and then losing it. Hold on, give me 1 sec.
Did you calculate it through, like, Google? Like, just typing in
No.
129 divided by 300. That's what I do.
I use like the calculator on my
I'll have like 10 tabs
or
open just of random numbers and division problems. But while Seerat looks this up,
okay, I got it actually. Oh, sorry, no, okay, wait, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So she's going back to Iowa, 32% on ISO threes. If you isolate, pun intended, for her Indiana career, 20% on ISO threes in the WNBA.
Right, and that would include like pick and rolls probably that are switched, and then you attack the switch. If I assume a lot of those get tracked that way. And to your point, I mean, there was like we've seen her make incredible threes off movement and stuff. There was a play, if anybody wants to look it up, it was where was it? It was about 5:45 left in the second quarter, where she drives, kicks out to the three, and then doesn't re-space to the opposite corner. So she drives, skips it, doesn't re-space to the opposite corner, and if she had, the ball swings back that way anyway, probably gets a catch and shoot three. But instead, she just kind of stands there after the pass to the corner. The swing goes nowhere. Dallas recovers. And then she gets back out to the 3-point line. It's like, okay, give me the ball, reset. So great. You've just driven. You've just made a good skip pass. The ball's in swing. And yeah, it takes effort to get back out to that weak side corner. But because you didn't, the advantage didn't result in anything. And you've effectively just killed 12 seconds, 10 seconds of the shot clock. And now you're probably going to have to spend the last 8 seconds of the shot clock dribbling around and taking a tough shot.
Well, it's an exhausting way to play too.
Yeah.
And I think part of this is also, they obviously want to play her off the ball a little bit more. They drafted Raven Johnson for a reason. They have a backup point guard in Ty Harris, who also, granted didn't really get to, didn't get to see her out there. I think she's got to relearn probably how to move off the ball. I think that's something that she was excellent at in Iowa. And it's something that, for some reason when she's gotten to the WNBA, maybe it's because it's more of a pick and roll heavy league and she's really leaned into that. She's just become a little bit more of an ISO player, and that's not really her strength. However, I will say, sorry, go ahead.
No, and in the full court, you see it because she's the defensive rebounding plus outlet passing, hit-ahead passing is so awesome.
I mean,
brings up her regular season value by like a ton. And it's like, this is like some days she damn near looks like Magic Johnson light,
No, for sure.
Rebound and we're out.
Yeah.
And it's quick hitting and it's ball advance and it's like everything that you would want. And if you could translate some of the stress that puts on a defense to the half court, that's kind of the eternal search. You know what I mean? And not for nothing. Yeah, she had 5 turnovers. Not one of them was a bad pass turnover.
No, I mean, a lot of them was like the offensive fouls and things like that.
Getting ripped. The handle was a little loose. That's part of that.
The handle was a little loose.
Coming back.
That was also Odyssey Sims being awesome.
True. Absolutely. Yeah. Credit to Dallas too. I don't want this to.
Absolutely. We'll talk about Dallas next for sure.
Green ass flag.
Oh, the greenest. The thing I'll say is I'm seeing people like, well, Caitlin hasn't improved anything since her rookie year. I think let's pump the brakes, guys. Because she's not like an ISO gonna beat you off the having this incredible step player, but she was getting to the rim. She's getting to the rim quite easily. And a lot of what she's done preseason, regular season has been getting there by being stronger than and taller than other players. I also wonder if some of this is also a function of it's almost like the Cam question, right? You see the sort of baseline post up fade away against Enrique, and that's obviously not a good shot. However, part of player development and skill development is working through some of that uncomfortable stuff as well. She is also a player who is in her 3rd year in the league as well. So there are going to be growing pains that come with that. She's not a finished product. She is,
and had a
24.
brutal stop start rhythm of last year with the injuries, not really conducive to growth. The one thing I think people would like to see, and I would like to see more of, is a little bit pace, more pace getting downhill. That play when she may have committed a charge on Isaiah James and was you've been flopping all fucking game or whatever.
The funny thing is that one was a foul.
On Caitlin or on Isaiah?
That should have been on Caitlin. And then there were a couple before that were
Yeah.
Either way,
I think
that's
it was
something
on
that she's
Isaiah.
going to get used to too. Like they're going to legislate the push off out of her game.
But on that play, if you look at it coming downhill, she just has an opportunity to put Isaiah. I'm pretty sure it was Isaiah and not Odyssey Sims. I'd have to go back and look in jail on her back, on her right hip, and slow down and read like the dunker spot. Yeah. Maybe a floater, maybe a dump off, but instead this kind of urge to zoom to the rim. She stops, comes back right because she wants to finish with her right hand. We know like not a ton of finishing left. And also that is her driving style anyway, to explode past people, and then puts herself in a position where that could have been an offensive foul. So I think that's the sort of development that you really would want to see. You know, what do coaches always tell you when you're 10 years old? Fast to the paint, slow when you get there. Like she's obviously an all-world player. And, you know, I don't need to explain too much of it to Caitlin and her fans, but like that is the sort of development that's going to be crucial, I think.
That in-between stuff is important, for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's achievable too this year, for sure, to get a little bit more of that. And that'll, I think, mute some of that, you know, criticism. Where's the improvement? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So yellow flag there. Green flag for Aaliyah Boston, by the way. Aaliyah Boston was
so good.
Awesome.
So good. I feel bad. We just did the whole thing. We didn't talk about Aaliyah, but so good. Hitting a three, like just the driving to post up stuff. And when she has too much space, it's just over for you. The defense was great. She's so
players
good.
Down to the rim.
She's so good, dude.
And that's like, you're talking about Alana Smith and Jess Shep, and she's just like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And running in transition, like the fitness is so good.
Yes, taking the ball out of the bucket and like going for the layup.
The you just end to end playing that style. It is so not easy to play the way they want to play when you're a big and when you've been used to. I mean, it seems crazy to think about. Like 2 years ago, it's like, man, how is Aaliyah going to adjust to, you know, setting screens 30 feet from the basket and running this much in transition and diving instead of posting up? It's like, just fine, actually. She's going to be awesome.
Yeah, she's great. She's been great. All right, you want to talk about Dallas?
They're really, really fucking good, dude. Or at least fun on offense, especially.
Really fun.
Really fun.
It feels natural to start with Paige. 20-point performance, 10 shots, 4 assists, game high.
Cash.
+8. Super cash.
Game high +8. Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty even.
It was a close game.
Yeah, it's true. I made a video and I wrote a little bit about it this preseason, but like I watched their preseason. I was like, oh yeah, dude, this is the stuff.
Yeah.
Like chasing space, early actions, like getting Paige into some advantageous positions quickly. It is so not the, hey, come get me a screen. I'm at the top of the key. There's only 14 left on the shot clock. And like, I'm going to dribble around and make something out of nothing. Like they are going and it is fun early and it's so advantageous to her. And also she obviously is the driver of offense still, but she benefits from a friendly context, which like, I don't think I said that about Dallas last year.
No, absolutely not. You couldn't have said that about Dallas last year. And as much as, you know, she is a driver of offense, I do have to appreciate the way they slow play her and the patience that she has and the patience that like Jose Fernandez has for that to happen as well, right? Like they start Odyssey Sims.
Right. I was going to say that's why they start Odyssey.
Yeah. Like they don't want her just like on the ball all the time. And look, like I get to certain places where I start to ask myself a question. I'm like, why is the pick and roll maestro not demanding picks? Like, why is the most efficient isolation player in the league isolating so little? Like, I certainly have questions like that, but I like the more you watch them, the more like they kind of like make those questions look really stupid, you know?
Right.
Like,
that's because we're greedy and gluttonous and like we just want our desires filled instantly, you know?
Exactly. Like Paige, Dallas, they're just some masters of delayed gratification in this context.
Yeah, and it makes and I totally understand the reasoning behind starting Odyssey. It's because when you don't want the offense to start with, you know, high pick and roll and Paige, maybe you want it to start with like her coming off an away screen and getting that screener to roll and starting your offense that way, or an early flare or like early zoom action and she can slip out of it or whatever, that getting a little bit more ball handling on the floor to help ease her and spring her into these early advantages, that's just, again, what I really have liked about their preseason and again against Indiana. And, again, it helps her lean into those off-ball gifts that we talked about on the other side. Like, she goes backdoor, she finishes the cut if she's getting rejected, and their offense moves on to the next thing. Like,
no, completely.
It's great.
One of my favorites was like, I think 2 minutes left in the game, 3 minutes left in the game. Like, this just like was brain tickling, like ASMR for like basketball junkies coded stuff. But it's
what a sentence.
The play where they need to kill clock, right? Like they're up a little bit. And Paige gets a pick and roll. Aaliyah Boston switches onto her. And it looks like Boston's like going to paint her into a corner here where like Becker's just going to have to take a step back mid-ranger, like some sort of step back, and she's either going to make it or miss it. She gives a ball up to Jessica Shepard. And in that second, you're like, come on, why are you giving the ball up, right? But then Boston goes back to Shep, and Paige relocates to the wing. Shep finds her. Then you think she's going to take the three. Boston gets to her, and then you don't even think there's enough time. Like, this whole action started with like 5 seconds left on the shot clock. And it's like, you have to take the three. No, she's going to pump fake, and she's going to get the midi. And it was just beautiful. Like, it goes against all of my sort of like basketball programming as far as like what I expect players to do in those positions. But like, she just manipulates time in such a way that like, it's like, you can never really guess. It makes her a really tough cover. And she's just never, she's always playing at her own pace. Like, she's got a metronome in her head. Like, she just knows how much time she needs.
I know. There certainly could be a Pace Page sort of nickname or pun or joke that someone has to make whose job it is to do such things. By the way, Shep, just such a good fit there. Like, in terms of providing the north-south dynamism that you need, running the floor in transition, diving hard. My favorite sequence, not to like just recount plays to everybody, but like Paige is in the empty corner and is coming off a handoff and rejects it, backdoors it, easy pull-up. Next time they're coming down, similar situation, handoff in the corner, in the empty corner. Okay, now we don't want to get back cut. We're going to let her go over, get the ball. The big defender kind of hedges out in anticipation. Shep, fake dribble handoff to the rim, gets fouled by Maisha Hines-Allen. It's like, you need that north-south component in this offense from especially your bigs as divers, rim runners, the whole thing. Fake DHO. And Shep brings it, and then it's just really valuable for them. I think she's going to be really good there.
Yeah, she will. I mean, the fake DHO there is so good also because like so often it is a real DHO and she's elite at that. Yeah. Like nine assists, bringing out the 3-point shooters, like just what a great pickup.
Yeah. And if you want to jam her, she's going back door. Yeah. So you can't win. That's the beauty of it. And then I guess we can talk about AZ yellow flag or is it even too early to do flags?
I think I might skip. Because, I mean, by the time most people listen to this, they're going to play another game.
Okay.
Like, let's just see how it goes. I don't want to.
We don't need to do this whole thing. There's more to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about. Well, who do you want to do next? Like, I was particularly, Liberty? Is it time to talk Liberty? Home game?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Both games. I watch both. I do my job.
Nice. Got to hear it. I'll let you start. So, do you have any, like, where are flags with them? Like, do you have any red flags? Like, or is it just
I think they are above, and maybe it's just because I cover them day in, day out. It's hard for me to put a flag on it, but it's not what you want in terms of the injuries and late arriving players that they've started their season with, right? Okay, new coaching staff, full new coaching staff. Well, no, Andrew Wade is still here, but new coaching staff, new offensive principles, abbreviated training camp. And, all Chris DeMarco has talked about is like, man, it gets quick. It's going to be a slow build. Like it's going to take all season. Now Sabrina's out. Satu hasn't played. Rebecca Allen hasn't played. Leonie Fibic and Raquel Carrera, who they have stashed overseas but expect to contribute this season. The Spanish League finals haven't even started yet. So they're not going to be playing until the end of the month. And it's like, oh man, this is not the way that you want to implement a new system and build continuity. And yet, 2-0, it feels good. The vibes are as good as they can be despite the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a big fan of what I've seen from the offense. Like, I think the early returns have been very good.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, they just have to stack wins, try to get all these players back. The worry, though, is Stewie played 39 minutes in that Washington game. And I know it went to overtime. It's like, this is what you have to avoid. This is probably what, burned her out in her MVP year when they lost to the Aces in the finals. So it's good. It's good so far, but it's just, they're only scratching the surface of what they want it to be. So it's tough for me to even, assign a flag to it. Does that make sense? I mean, what's your kind of outsider perspective on it?
I would say 2-0 with all those injuries, and also just the way that this French backcourt is playing together is a huge green flag.
Pauline is just throwing up wrong-footed layups off the top of the square, and then she's tough.
She's
you
feisty,
can see why
man.
Teams wanted her.
Yeah.
And, it really does feel like this offense, Krista Marcos talked a lot about how much he loves Marine and trusts Pauline already. And when they come down the court and you can see the Liberty kind of execute their wheel spacing principles and get into, a dribble handoff, and there's just a ton of space, these players have the freedom to attack and are encouraged to break down their defender. And it just feels so far like a lot more open for them. And, Pauline's obviously a great addition in that context, but this is the antithesis of what it felt like was dragging them down last year. Like, what are we doing? Why is there no space?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you look back at training camp, all the talk about simplifying things. I think that there's just an understanding that there's a lot of talent on this team. You don't have to complicate things, even with all of these players out. I think Marine is someone that you just want to cook. She just makes the game so much faster. She'll take the ball out of the basket, start running a dribble handoff, from, 3/4 court.
Feet away,
and
she might shoot it from there.
And she might. And she's a great shooter. And you know what? She's a hilarious player. She's a better shooter guarded than she is unguarded. I almost wonder if the Zag is just leave her open. I don't know. I don't even know what you do with her sometimes.
Once you get past the one guaranteed mind melting turnover that it just doesn't even make sense per Marine game, then it's then you're home. Then you're home free.
Exactly.
And yeah, she is. You can tell. It's so early, but it really does. If you've watched this team a lot and her minutes a lot over the past few seasons, just feels like she's space to cook.
It feels like a new beginning. It feels, dare I say, most improved player campaign. Although I'm adding a couple people onto that list as we go through the pod. But I mean, I just don't think that she's been freed like this before. And she's putting up 20-point games. We know what she can do as a passer and a shooter. We've seen it overseas. There's no reason why she shouldn't be able to put it all together here. Especially with Sabrina being out now. Maybe once everyone's healthy, that context changes. But right now, it's sort of, I don't know, it's her offense to run.
It is true. Does the Ringer have an internal pool of whoever brings up awards discussion earliest in the season, gets a pot? Is that across all the sports?
Yeah, it's actually, we get a bonus basically for every time we bring it up. That's why we
game and a half MIP.
I was doing it in the
really
preseason.
good.
I was doing
really
MIP
good
in the preseason.
Wow.
This is adding to my list. I already have.
That's special.
I have Jade Melbourne. I have Janelle Salon, Ileana Rupert was going to be on there. I'm adding Anissa Morrow on there, who I thought about adding in the preseason. I regret not adding in the preseason. Who else do I have in Seattle? Obviously Malonga, Zaya Cook. This is
okay.
I've been doing this for a while. I'm not new to this.
Respect.
I'm true to this.
Game recognize game. And it's good. You recognize a lot of game. And Marine, it just is like the way when they get into their early offense and they have, a fairly, it's becoming more and more defined flow offense side to side. There was a viral clip on, I think Miles Ehrlich tweeted it, where Chris DeMarco is clapping before, like as she's getting into her shot. And
doing the steph? He's doing the steph?
As she's taking a pull-up three, like, just expressing a ton of approval. And if I recall correctly, I might be wrong, but I think that play came out of just their flow offense on the first side. So they're bringing it down and the ball hasn't even been reversed. They're not into anything else yet, but Marine's like, oh, I'm shooting this. Like, I'm open right now. I don't even need to reverse it. Well, and why? That is just such a, like, why? I'm open. We did it. This is the possession we wanted. We got the shot. I'm shooting it.
Simplify.
And so often it felt like Marine, it's like, shoot the ball. Like go do something. Yeah. Like, come on, trust yourself. Yeah. And that possession felt I'm like screaming in my room right now. That possession just felt very instructive as to why it feels good right now, despite all the stuff. And also Jonquel, not huge lines. I thought she was like just dominant and engaged on defense in that first game and in that second game, honestly, before all the fouls caught up to her.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to Jonquel in a second. I think what you bring about the offense is very interesting. And I think it sort of gets to this contradiction, right? Where with the Sandy Brandello offense, there's always this sort of thing of like, well, the Liberty need to run their offense so that they can get the ball to everybody on the floor. And they don't get caught up in playing like one-on-one, right? And like we'd always talk about like their good games, their assist numbers, things like that. Their record with Jonquel as sort of like the barometer of how much the ball is actually moving.
Right.
And it makes me think of what Sabrina said during training camp, which was like sometimes like when you have that many actions set up, like you are kind of overthinking, right? Like you're like, okay, I need to get the ball here. I need to get the ball there. We have like players like them that are great at creating advantages and know how to make plays. You don't have to do too much. Just let them play. Because they want to, like, that was always one of the things that was really confusing to me about the Liberty too, is that like they don't have players that I think of as like naturally unselfish, like Stewie can do a little bit of everything and wants to. Jonquel is one of the best big woman passers in the WNBA. Sabrina is a point guard, right? Like it's like not a team that you should have to like really force them to figure out how to play together. Like that, a lot of that should have always felt a little bit more intuitive. And I think that this is unlocking some of that intuition.
And I would write about it last year. The barometer for when it wasn't going well is Sabrina and Stewie would have like half of the team's shot attempts in a given game.
Yeah.
Because what are we doing? Stewie bail us out. Like Sabrina needs to take a tough shot at the end of the clock. But yeah, that being said, Washington, I'm in. I like it. I like what they're doing.
So Stewie talked about the fouls after the game, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to get too much into like the refs or anything like that. That's another thing where I'm like, but just give it sample size. I don't think that we can like simultaneously be as mad as we were last year and then be like this upset when they've overcorrected after the first weekend. If it looks like this in 3 weeks, we'll talk. But
yes.
Like Washington is going to foul players out. That's just something they're going to do all season. Like I mean, they got JJ, right? And like they just have done such a good job, I think, with Shakira Austin and Kiki. Despite the fact that they don't have a lot of like 3-point spacing them out together in a way where like they're great face-up players. It's really hard to double players on when they're facing up. And Georgia Amor just kind of knowing what button to push at the same time. Shakira Austin just being in incredible shape. The ball handling has improved. This is the best that she's ever looked. Another MIP candidate. And really playing to her strengths as well. She's playing from higher up as well. She's starting out a lot of these drives in the 3-point line, and she's so explosive. And with the tighter handles, it's just really hard to deal with her. So if you go to the rim, you're going to get fouled.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. I've been so impressed by how much space they've created for her driving the ball. Like from the slot, from the corner. She has she drove the ball a ton through 2 games. I didn't count how many drives she actually had. I would guess like 24, like that were trying to score the rock, if not more. Only 3 turnovers, and I think one of those turnovers that she's had is like an illegal screen. There's just so much space for her, and I was worried. What we're all worried about is kind of right. There was a lack of shooting, and would there be enough space? And yet, I think so far they've answered that concern. And then I thought Kiki was just so commendable in that win over Toronto. Hey, we're not running a ton of stuff for you today. You have to cut off the perimeter. Like, you have to space. You have to fill our spacing principles. And you have to crash the glass and be a dog, like filling in behind the low man to get to the paint and get a board or cut. And she was like, all right, I'll do that. I'll grab 7 offensive rebounds. I'll be just like a monster on the glass. And then that game against the Liberty, she's a little bit more featured. She's a little bit more in screening and early post-up actions. And I think she had like a 20 and 10 double-double.
Yeah,
I just, it feels like maybe the fit could be weird, but man, I've been just so impressed by both of them and the coaching staff through 2 games. And the other thing that I was thinking, what all of their collective inexperience does, it actually makes like the hierarchy and the building of optionality kind of easy,
Well, Sydney Johnson is also just really good at that. Like, he knows where to put all the chess pieces so that everybody's put in a position to succeed. So it doesn't even feel like there's much of a hierarchy.
I was telling Liberty people, like, yeah, they just destroyed the Sun, but they're going to have a real game against the Mystics. Like, it's going to be really hard. And then the first possession of that game, they get an off-ball action for Sonia and forces a switch. Kind of like what we were talking about with Paige. She wasn't just bringing it up. She comes off, a wide pin down on a way screen and forces the switch. Kiki's the screener. Kiki dives. Now she's posting up Marine. The Liberty, like, help on the backside. Someone comes over. They skip the ball across the court. Open look. Miss. But Kiki, of course, offensive rebound. Ball swung back out towards Shakira Austin. Wide open 3 if she wants to take it. We've seen her shoot a few. She drives it. Tough lefty layup. It's like, okay, 1 possession. They're going to be good today. Like, they're here. That all makes it like, they just got it. They just got it. And it feels like also Sonia had 26 in that first game. What'd she have?
She did. Right? Yep, 26.
It felt like she was barely like touching the rock in the first half, or the first 3 quarters. Then you look up and, oh shit, she's 9 of 15 or whatever she is. It felt very natural. She's getting hers in the flow. The one thing is that you can see Georgia and Rory are a little bit hampered by the lack of size. So it's tough for them when they get in the paint to like make a skip pass or find an advantage on the other side of the court. It's hard to be small, but Rory struggled with turnovers. At the very least, Georgia gets to 2 feet. She may not see it, but she's keeping it moving. She's getting to 2 feet, reset. We're getting into something else.
Yeah, they're probably the ones suffering the most from the lack of spacing. I would be interested to see them like in some lineups where, I think they can, with their most ideal spacing lineups, like scrounge something together to kind of create a little bit more space for them. Because I do think that Washington's being pretty intentional about like they're not starting Lauren Betts, right? Like they're having her and Shakira Austin come in for each other. And I think part of that is like, starting Cass Prosper so that Shakira and Kiki can have that space. And then Betts will play with Douglish, who she has experience with from UCLA as well. Like, they've just done a good job of like, all of like the sort of make like to have it flow and make like the rotation make this much sense early on. Although I will say, I think there were like 2 minutes where Betts, Shakira, and Cass were on at the same time, and they grabbed all of their available rebounds on the court on both ends. So I'm sure that was pretty fucking funny.
Dude, yeah. I looked up 3 stats I think will improve. Like, they were, I think, the 3rd worst offensive rebounding team last year. They
might be the best this year.
They grabbed 23%. Well, Atlanta exists. They grabbed 23% of available boards last year on offense. So far, such small sample size, whatever, up to 34%. And it's felt like, damn, they're on the glass. They had a quarter of their shots come from 3 last year, by far lowest in the league. about 35% so far, which would have been a like mediocre 3-point attempt rate. And then they were 11th in pace last year. They're playing fast. And their half-court possessions can get bogged down because there's not a lot of like, you know, shooting and a ton of offensive talent like early in the clock. So you can get into these late clock possessions, but they run Kiki early seal, Shakira early seal with like 18 on the clock. And then if we don't have it, okay, we'll get back out. But they're running, they're offensive rebounding, and they're shooting a 20-26 amount of 3-pointers.
Yeah. It makes me think about their draft, right? And I had you on right after the draft, and we sort of talked about it's confusing that they didn't draft as many shooters as were available. And hearing Sydney Johnson talk about it later, it's like they wanted to get more toughness. They wanted to stop being beat up. And I thought that, you know, in the context of knowing that the referee rules were going to change, in the context of knowing the direction that the league was taking, that's a really interesting zag. You know, Cody McMahon, who's out with injury, still hasn't even played, right? And just watching that game, watching Jonquel foul out, it was sort of this evidence of like, look, like, physicality isn't going to be legislated out of the game. There are certain ways that physicality is actually going to be rewarded more than it ever has been.
Let's get to these playoffs and see if everyone thinks that physicality has been legislated out of the game as an advantage.
That is a great point. That is a great point. But players like Kiki and Shakira, if they're driving to the rim and they have an advantage, they're going to draw a foul. If they're boxing out and you're not boxing out on them, they're going to draw a foul, right? Like, yes, you'll probably get dinged on a couple of things like your screening actions and stuff, but so much of, like, we were kind of overly focused on the perimeter aspect of the refereeing, which makes sense, but at the same time, in the WNBA, players get totally destroyed in the paint.
Yes, yes. Can I go quick tangent?
Yeah.
You see this across basketball officiating, and I think it's reason to be worried a little bit about the changes. Again, like you said, we're a weekend in.
Throw in a yellow flag. Throw in a ref and yellow flag. Let's do it.
I'm throwing a challenge. Yeah, I'm throwing a flag on the refs, dude. We can't do the whole, there's too much physicality, so we're calling hand fighting and slightly more illegal screens 40 feet from the basket and slightly more push-offs, but you can still do whatever you want to bigs down low. Like, to fix, quote unquote, the physicality issue, bigs and guards, or interior and perimeter players, have to be officiated closer to the same standard. It will never be the same standard. I get it. That's how basketball works. But to fix the problem that we all kind of recognize, it just has to be closer to the same standard. Instead, what I've seen so far, and, you know, not 100%, but it seems like that standard is getting wider. The standards for officiating interior and perimeter players are getting wider. You know what I mean? So that is actually exacerbating the problem because you have no flow on the perimeter, but you're not really legislating the physicality that people don't like out of the game, which is it's just too much inside.
Was there anything that stood out to you in particular?
I mean, listen, it's going to sound Liberty Homer of me, but like, you know, a lot of the Jonquel fouls were just like soft, you know, but they weren't like going for offensive rebound soft, like fighting for post-up position soft.
Well, the last one was a screen, Yeah,
and that's not the physicality we're talking about, where it was not an illegal screen in my opinion. But
well, I will say though, I mean, Cass Prosper also fouled. I do think that some of that was like them, like, you know, actually calling the stuff down low, which is the one that she actually got dinged on was the screen.
It was. And I haven't listened. The ones that I don't mind them calling are, hey, someone's trying to come off a pin down or an off ball action.
They're being held,
and we're just grabbing and we're just grappling. Like, we don't need all that. I don't really love all that. So I don't mind if we overextend on those a little bit.
All right. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm with you. Lucas, thank you so much for hopping on. Is there anything you want to plug before I let you go?
Nah, you know where to find me. You can look up my name.
Okay, so you can find Lucas on Nets Daily, and you can also find him on his Substack as well. He does great work. I think you mix fun with X's and O's in a way that I think makes it a lot more accessible for people. So
do you think I'm in your MIP race? Do you think I'm in your most improved podcaster?
Well, I already thought very highly of your podcasting abilities and your ball knowledge. So if you want to make the all-star to superstar jump, then yeah, we can certainly talk. But that's one of the hardest jumps to make.
It's true. Well, I appreciate your clear belief in me and high standards.
Always. All right. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you to Stephen Ahlman for producing. Apologies for this episode going out a day late. We had a kind of Murphy's Law type of day as far as like cancellations went. But we'll be back most likely on Friday. And thank you for listening.